Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the BytesBurn podcast. It's great to be here. As always, I am your amazing host, Stacey Onuora, and with me is my amazing co-host, Idris Lawal. Yeah. Idris, how's it to be back again in the faces of our subscribers and viewers?
It feels really good to be back to be doing this with you. And we've missed a couple of weeks, and we're happy to, appear again on your screens to bring you the tech news that you love. And we, of course, as usual, will give you our takes on them.
Yeah. So today we have a lot to unpack from alleged bank breaches to AI being too powerful to better trying to replace your entire marketing team. So we'll just get straight into it. So um, there is a report that allegedly says that there was a breach on Sterling Bank and Vermita. So basically, the report was saying that there was a vulnerability that was exploited on a Sterling Bank infrastructure, basically on their test environment where that is publicly accessible on the internet. And basically, the report said that there was this vulnerability was like globally known, right? So it had a CVE number, which basically means that um, security experts had identified this flaw and documented this and had made it fixed. So it's up to the organizations to then update their own systems with the fix. But this wasn't done, right? And basically, they were able to access the Sterling Bank infrastructure through that flaw and subsequently also accessed Remita. For those who don't know, Remita is basically a payments infrastructure that the government uses to pay salaries to its workers, collect revenue, and just move money around different systems, right? They were also able to, access a lot of customer records, private information, basically BVNs, basically information about the customers, right? And that's not great. I mean, there are lots of rules governing like people's data, right? And that shouldn't be accessible. But now, allegedly, this hacker was able to gain access to that data via this phone. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think any data breach right now is bad enough, and for it to now be a bank, that's even worse because um, any loss of information relating to financial information is not just a data breach. It also leads to direct harm to the people involved in the breach. So part of what I've seen is that the NDPC, that's the Nigerian Data Protection Commission, is currently also investigating the issue. And yeah, it's of course there will be fines that would be applied if the bank is found to be culpable in these issues. But yeah, the fact that there was a breach or an alleged breach is bad enough. Customers, for one, would of course not have the confidence anymore. Maybe some people may even try to quickly go withdraw withdraw their money and all that. So it's not good for the bank in any way. And there's a lot of reputational damage that will be coming from this if they're if the claims are found to be true. So yeah, it in this current AI era, you just have to be very wary of CVEs and similar security advisory, because these bots, these agents are prowling around looking for where the vulnerabilities are. And there seem to be uh some trend around Nigerian financial institutions these days, where there's um a constant attacks on some of this infrastructure. So I think also, if you look at what the CBN has been the regulations the CBN has been putting in place around security, AML, anti-fraud checks, and all of that stuff is also in line with, further securing the financial institution in Nigeria, because these banks form a vital part of the institution, and the current financial system that we have is widely used by everyone in Nigeria. The bank transfers, the online payments, all these things are tied into these institutions that are being attacked. So it's very important for these banks now to take security as their utmost, like a priority one for them this year, because we can no longer previously it was people actively scanning for vulnerabilities. Now you have smart agents that can sniff out these vulnerabilities from a mile away. So you cannot be lackadaisical with security these days. And you can even see from many other things, even the NPM breach that happened with Axios. These vulnerabilities are getting more and more sophisticated, so you cannot be sleeping on it. And I think it's not just for the banks that are involved, also for other banks and other financial institutions. They need to be taking a lesson from this, and fixing up whatever vulnerabilities that have been discovered, and also actively scan for vulnerabilities themselves. So we will see eventually how how much of this is has affected customers, or if the vulnerabilities has actually if the breach has actually been taking place. We'll see in the coming days, but yeah, it's bad enough as is. And other banks and other financial institutions definitely need to take heed from this.
Yeah. I also think even one thing that was highlighted is like now the link from that breach in alleged breach in Sterling Bank to now be able to access another system, which is the remittance system. So that means people also need to ensure that their third party connections are secure. I think there's one thing I always say. I think it's okay as an engineer to have trust issues. Like, don't trust anything, don't trust anything. Always double validate, always reconcile, like, check for weak links. Because again, it's not always something big that happens. It could just be one weak point, and that is like the entry to your system and other systems, right? So, yeah, I think, like you said, we'll see, the results of like investigations and things like that as to what actually happened, how much data was leaked, and the impact of that. We're talking about security vulnerabilities, right? We have Claude. Claude reads, they do reuse, but they have a product called Claude Mythos, which is an AI system that can find and exploit security vulnerabilities as a speed, like they can do this at scale and at a speed in which like people can't fix these things on time before it's exploited, right? So, like you mentioned, now we're not just going with humans. Cybersecurity would have been a thing, humans against out it, AI against AI against humans, right? And then it's now exponentially like the time at which you're able to do this is exponential because before you even know that this breach has happened, they've done a lot of damage, right? And then they're saying that they would not make um this product publicly available because they feel like it is like the impact would be too hazardous, right? If this was public, is able to exploit systems at large. So what they now decided to do was to um, bring a coalition basically called Project Last Link, where they have like big tech, big companies generally like Apple, Google, and they share this product with them so that it can find vulnerabilities in their system and they're able to fix it. So basically, it's like security on their end, right? And then just in case any other company is able to bring that out or release that product and doesn't have like a moral standing as Claude, and then people use that to um, attack their systems. They've already gotten ahead of that and need to fix it. So what do you think about Claude Mythos? Do you think there is validity in the fact that, oh, this AI system like too much to the
Yeah.
public, it's too powerful?
Yeah. Well, it's you. Well, you can see reason with not wanting to release it to the public because obviously we know what people will do with it. But the other side of it is, well, if they've built it, how are you sure someone else hasn't built something similar? The right now in the AI race, it isn't one company or one country or one entity that is monopolizing the entire knowledge. The knowledge is available worldwide, and every every country is trying to put in place something to also have an edge in this AI race that is going forward. So I think it's quite very possible that there are tools like this out there as well doing something similar, and you making use of open source models and all of that. So um we can take some comfort in the fact that, well, they are not making it public, but definitely we should be wary that tools like this are already out there. So
Exactly.
yeah, it's for everyone now to also be wary that there are these scanners that are on the web, looking for vulnerabilities in your system, and you have to be patching as much as possible and be active with your security fixes. So it's the way of the world now, and we just have to step up to the new challenge.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Because then again, like the times of like you have to always be on defense, I think. Be on the defense because these things they won't come small. Times they find a vulnerability and they're ready to exploit it before you even see that problem, right? Or try to fix it. Um so yeah. Now speaking of AI, going back into the AI realm, Claude sorry, Meta had given us a sneak peek into their 2026 roadmap. And one of the things that is coming out is the new Spark. So basically this is an AI and what they're trying to do with this is to fully automate advertising. So we know that advertising is largely data driven, right? And they want to integrate this into their entire ecosystem, WhatsApp, Facebook, anywhere they are basically running ads so that ads are fully automated. So no human intervention from the past where you say, okay, I want to sell this, you take that over, you know, get a creative plan, just targeted ads, knows your audience, and is able to optimize that as well so that your ads are reaching the right people. Um, so that means what they're saying is basically we might not need marketing agencies or marketing specialists anymore once they're done with, building out this AI, rolling out to the public. What are the thoughts about this as well?
Well, I think the idea about ads, is not strange to Meta. They've always been about ads, from the days of Facebook, and they are still about ads. And this new tool is just, I think, an extra feature in their already existing repertoire of ad engines. So I don't think it's replacing marketing agents or anything. It's an extra tool that they can use. But you also have to decide as a marketing organization, where are your target audiences. So if the tool that Meta has is do not reach the platforms where your target audiences are, then of course you need to diversify your strategy. So that's something marketing organization or marketing personnel would know how to do. So yeah, it's a good tool, but I don't. I think you still need people to actually come up with a marketing strategy for you if you are looking to sell something, and maybe it's even an offline strategy. So an AI will not go and knock on doors for you if you need to. So I think it's just an extra tool for them if they choose to use it. And also you also have to look at, okay, how much it is, the price and all of that, to make your decision. So I see it as just an extra tool basically, and it would probably be able to reach more people than the normal Facebook ads. But yeah, it's just another tool, and with AI in it. So all the best to them.
I mean, usually when they're trying to introduce a product that is going to come soon or product they're working on, I mean, there's a tendency to maybe, or let's say, overestimate its impact. So we never really know till they actually release it, and then we see what it can do, its capabilities, and the impact it has on, the job market and just generally the sector in which it's supposed to play in. Um, okay. So we're going into something more something that's making the news recently, and it's about unpaid challenges. So there was a Nigerian celebrity that I come out to say, okay, you know what, I want you guys to join a design challenge where I then pick. So you guys will drop your entries, and then I will pick the best one and then give the person a job. And there was things there. People were like, "Oh, it's exploitative. It's disrespectful to uh, the work that they do. That's why should skilled people kind of pass prove in that way what they can do and we like unpaid work." So, but other people were like, "Oh, it's also good for visibility as well. And oh, someone else could see your work and side tag. So even if you don't get hired by him, someone else, you never know where your opportunity could come from." Um, so what's your take on that?
Personally, for me, I don't think everything qualifies as work that you need to be paid for. So if you are getting into a challenge, you know what you're getting into. So if you are participating, they've given the terms and conditions and everything relating to the challenge. So if there's a reward that they say they will give you, uh, so you are playing for that reward. If there's no reward, maybe you are playing for a publicity stuff. So maybe you just want people to see you and see what you do. So not everything that you do immediately qualifies as paid work. So I believe the challenge, whoever hosted it, provided some information about what the challenge entails and what the reward is, if there is any. So if you are participating in search, then what you're doing is maybe you just want people to see you and see what you do. So I think the call out was unnecessary because it was obviously not some sort of exploitation. It was something that was put out in the public, and if you participate, you know what you're participating for. So saying it is exploitative and all of that, if that's what you think, then just don't participate. So if people want to their work, I mean, we've seen cases where even there was no challenge at all. I don't know if you remember this Innocent Motors. There was no challenge. Nobody called for a challenge, and people started designing their logo for them. After this guy, there was this Farouk guy that did the design first, and then other people, and then I think he got some recognition from it and all of that, and then other people started jumping on the bandwagon doing the same thing. Nobody called for a challenge in that scenario. So, and people started doing it because they wanted to get, some recognition that they can also do something like that. So I think it's just people being people by calling out the design challenge. It doesn't, the call out doesn't make sense to me, because I think it's something out in the public domain, and whoever is participating just wants to, obviously show that they can do, they can do the job, and they want people visibility, because that's very important these days, for professionals to be able to show their skill. So doesn't deserve to be called out, in my opinion.
Of ties into I think there was a point, it still is, right? In tech hiring processes where they give you a take home assignment and people are like, why are you making me do this work? And you know, I mean the end goal is a job, obviously, but people are like, oh, it's time I'm putting into this, and it's likely that I won't get anything at the end of it. I mean, in the case of the challenge, there's visibility, but in like an assessment type of thing where you're building out a whole system, or even circling back to designers where they ask you to design something, right? And it's possible that they could use the idea without you knowing, because then it's a closed system, right? You wouldn't know if you don't get to know that, okay, they ended up using your idea for one thing or the other. So then I think some companies even implemented, okay, if it takes um, a certain number of hours, they get paid for it, right? And then I think also in the clauses, it should be like some sort of reassurance. I don't think you're not going to use my work without my permission, even if I don't get hired, right? So I think it kind of links into that design challenge thing. But at the end of the day, it's really like, what are you aiming to get from it? If you don't want to join the challenge, don't join the challenge. The people that are joining the challenge know what they potentially stand to gain from joining the challenge as well. But I guess it's just that oh, it's insulting that you want a cold me to come and sign something for you for free and put it out there. But not everybody is at the stage of their life where they feel like they have your pride, do you get, in doing certain things, right? So
Yeah,
people are still
yeah.
upcoming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
So
if you're already, you've already gotten to a level where you are, earning, really good money from what you do already. I mean, you obviously have, such concerns. But for people who are just, up and coming, they will do anything for anybody, even if it's for free, just to see that, they can do it. And that visibility is also very important for them to prove that they can do it. And there are many times where, people who are recruiting are just looking for someone to fill in a position, and then they see something that someone has done online, and they're like, let's just have a chat with this person, you know so
yeah.
it's entirely up to the individual to partake or not to partake. So if there's a challenge, you look at it, you feel it doesn't make sense to you, you ignore. If there are people who want to partake and show their skill, I think where we should be calling out should be when eventually the result of the challenge is being used by the individual without any compensation to the uh persons that did the work. Then we call out such exploitative practice. But yeah, I don't think any form of design challenge like that needs to be called out. It's entirely up to the individual.
Yeah. Very so that brings us to the end of this episode of the BytesBurn podcast. If you enjoyed the topics we talked about, or you have your own comments about the topics we discussed, be sure to drop a comment in the comment section, share it to your friends, family, everyone around you, so they can also watch. And be sure to like and subscribe as well.